And we're on, Jill. How's it going, Jill?
Good. How are you?
Very good. Welcome to This Week in the Grotto, episode number 5. And we are going to be answering questions, doing a little Q&A this week of some of the questions that we received since our last podcast. But before we jump into those questions, we do have some announcements, as usual, and we need to announce the winner of the coveted You Evolve Buffalo keychain. It's Chrissy Rushik. She writes, and these reviews are on our You Evolve Buffalo Facebook page. Chrissy writes, they have amazing dedication to the people they work with. They raise you and teach you so much and help you grow and get stronger. I am so glad I found this place. Well, we're glad you found this place too, Chrissy. So I'm sure we'll see you at the Grotto next time you're in.
She'll be there tonight. She's coming in tonight.
Matter of fact, there's a keychain there that you can give her. So
perfect.
I'll let you know where it is. And awesome. Speaking of tonight, so if you want to be eligible for a keychain, just make sure to leave us a review on our Facebook page. We'll pick one of our favorite reviews and announce the winner within the first 5 minutes of our podcast every week. What's going on at the Grotto tonight, Joe?
Tonight we have our boot camp that we're running. We've been collecting items for the Family Justice Center in Buffalo. We have a pretty good collection. There's actually a picture on our Instagram, our You Give Buffalo Instagram page, and I know Mel Bush had posted the picture originally of everything that's been collected, and I just wanted to also give a shout out and thank you to everybody who has donated items. But tonight we are going to be there. I'm going to be running a boot camp at 6 o'clock, and the money that we collect is going to be used to purchase, I believe, either more items, depending on after we go through everything, what it looks like maybe we're in need of still, or in smaller denomination gift cards that they had asked for.
Fantastic. I know some people that were there this week have some stuff that they were going to drop off on Monday. And I said there would be no problem. I didn't think you guys were delivering the goods before then. So I think you still might get some last minute donations coming in early next week. So fantastic. Speaking of working out in classes, we do have our February class schedule is up. It's available at our website, also on the Mind Body app where you can register for classes. And on Tuesdays, we had some changes to the schedule. We have a new instructor joining the You Evolve Buffalo team, Allie Hartman from Emerald Fitness. She's going to be doing 2 classes on Tuesdays, a early morning 5:30 express class called Sweatshop with an optional additional 15 minutes at the end to make it a 45-minute class. And then she'll be back on Tuesday night for a full-length version of Sweatshop at 6:15 p.m. Also coming back mid-month in February, Meg Leto is coming back with Dance Dance Evolution. Putting that back on the schedule, and a lot of people are happy about that. Everyone misses Meg. We also will be moving Kettlebell Amp from Tuesdays to Thursdays. So Maureen taking her talents to Thursday night. And we have a pop-up class on our schedule on February 15th at 9:45 a.m., Gentle Yoga for All Bodies. And that's going to be presented by Angel Schweikowski of Move Buffalo. So excited for that. I do plan on taking that myself. I'm looking forward to a good stretch on my gentle body. And I think everybody can benefit from that. So there's only a few spots left. That's almost sold out. So make sure that you get on the Mind Body app. You can use any of your regular You Evolve Buffalo class passes to register for that.
They can also register right on Angel's page too. There's a link in the event page, and they can use that to register directly as well.
Fantastic. And if you haven't already, find Angel's Move Buffalo Facebook page. She's on Instagram. She does a lot on Instagram. Make sure to give her a like, give her a follow. She's doing some pretty good stuff. looking forward to seeing her and taking that class.
Yeah.
So speaking of gentle yoga, Dance Evolution, well, do we have any other announcements before we jump into any of the questions? We pretty well covered.
Yeah. You Give Buffalo. Tomorrow's February. It's happened. We made it through January. So February, we're on to a new month for You Give Buffalo. On February 8th, that's a Saturday, from 11:30 to 12:30, so 11:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m., we are going to be making Valentines for the Elderwood Assisted Living. We did this last year and had a great turnout. Aubrey and I actually went and dropped off the Valentines last year at a local nursing home, and they were extremely grateful. So we are taking the opportunity to do that again. If people are able to make the event, and you can bring maybe materials, we are gonna provide some, but if people are able to maybe bring like construction paper, scissors, stickers, any of that kind of thing, that they would like to make some of these homemade Valentines, that would be wonderful. Anybody is welcome. It's free. The parents are asked to stay, so this isn't, you know, if your kids are going to come, you can't drop them off. You gotta stay and hang out with us and make these Valentines. So it's just for that hour. If you're unable to make it, I know I have a lot of teacher friends and we have a lot of teacher clients. And if they're able to, if they have time, maybe they're looking to, you know, fill some kind of spot in their busy already daily schedules. If they want to have maybe some of their students make Valentines and drop them off, that would be very greatly appreciated as well. We're looking to have them all collected, I believe, by February 10th. So that way we can take them and get them over to Elderwood. So that's that. And then also, in addition to, I know you mentioned the pop-up classes, we are also doing 3 additional classes. All of the proceeds for these classes are going to be going to the Luca Kalani Foundation. The first one is going to be on February 7th at 5:30 p.m. That is, I'm going to be doing the Cupid Shuffle beats. And on February 21st, that one's at 6. I figured give parents a little bit additional opportunity on their drive home to go scoop up their kids, because we are going to be doing Kinesis Kids. Kinesis Kids is basically a fitness class where we do exercises in game format to make it fun for the kids, and it's appropriate for ages usually about 6 to 12, I would say. If you have a 5-year-old, they usually fare pretty well and do well with that as well, so they're welcome. And on February 28th, which is also a Friday, I'm going to be running a boot camp at 5:30 p.m. So there's 3 additional opportunities to come get some workouts in. The money is going to go to a fantastic cause. There's a little bit of dance. Well, not dance. It's a little bit of choreography with the beats. We got the kids included. And then people who want to come and have a little bit more intensity, we got the boot camp covered. So
sounds really, really fantastic. You guys are doing a great job.
Yeah, we got a pretty awesome team, and I can't thank all of these people on this little committee that we have, because like I know I've stated before, I've tried to do this in the past on my own and got about 4, maybe 5 months in and just couldn't manage it. And we are going on, November was a year, so November, December, January, February, we're going to be going on month number 16 in a row of completing a monthly community service activity. So that's lined up. March is already set for the Fight for Air Climb with the American Lung Association that we've partnered with. They are that event is going to be on March 21st. So if there are anybody, or if there is anybody who would like to join and be a climber, you're more than welcome to join the team. There are multiple of people who have their pages up and were able to accept donations for that as well. And I believe I'm going to be out of town, and I know you have a competitor in the show that day. And of course, our fantastic instructors have helped to step up, and I believe Maureen and Allie both are going to be help man the table there, and possibly even leading in a light warm-up before the climb begins.
Sounds good. Monday, February 3rd, we should have new swag. We should have new swag available.
Yeah.
Jumped on that today. So keep your eyes open for some new You Evolve Buffalo swag coming out.
Everyone can thank Deanna Jones for that idea too this morning, because I was wearing that. She's been asking about it, and I had my hoodie on this morning, and she goes, "When are we going to get those? When are we getting them?" So I just shot the message over. So I'm really excited.
I jumped on it. It should be. I already got some information, and I should have a mock-up of it sometime on Monday. Sure, we can probably get it up Monday night or by Tuesday.
Cool. So, everybody can say thanks, Deanna.
Yeah. We'll thank her for the new swag idea. Great idea. We got that coming up. And I think that's about it. Let's get into what's that?
I said that's a lot.
That's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's always a lot. So I did have some questions I've been accumulating this last week from either people in our lean program, some people that have messaged me, just people that I've encountered through training throughout this last week. And I thought this might be a good forum to address some of these questions. And then we can move on to a different topic next week. So I do on Wednesdays on our You Evolve Buffalo Facebook page, I do a Wednesday night live session starting at 7 p.m. They've been averaging about 60 minutes in length, where I usually pick a topic and do a pretty deep dive. I went pretty deep into the carnivore diet this last week. I thought if you had any interest or questions about the carnivore diet, I would refer back to that video because I covered it pretty darn thoroughly. And I believe I got most of the general questions answered about that. I think I would like to go back and make that into an actual YouTube video that can be referenced, because I think the information in there is enough to really get somebody started on their way. But
I'm looking forward to hearing that one. I didn't have a chance to listen to it yet because, been down and out, but I am looking forward to listening to it. It looked like there was some pretty great interactions, just what I was able to see from the comments.
Sure. They're picking up steam. We're getting some good viewership and interaction. So I've gotten some questions because I have been eating pretty strict carnivore, my version of it at least. Like I said, I'm not making it into a religion, not letting perfect be the enemy of good. But for instance, today, because then I get asked the most common question, even if I'm not doing the carnivore diet, if I was just in general, and I'm sure you get this question a lot too, Joe, is, well, what do you eat? And I generally say, you don't, right? What do you eat? And my response is,
I think I got it 3 times this week, actually.
Sure. People want to know, how we fuel ourselves. And I generally say, you don't want to know how I eat. You're not going to eat how I eat. You're not going to like how I eat. I was once referred to as a joyless eater, which I think is funny, but I don't think that's the truth at all. But I see their point.
No, if they think that of you, they would I can't even imagine what they would say how I eat in my cooking, because like your cooking is like a flavor burst compared to
I think the point is that it's pretty basic. It's pretty basic.
Yeah, for sure.
There's recipes. I don't use recipes.
Right.
I usually, everything's like one ingredient generally. It's like an ingredient with seasoning. Right? Isn't it? It's like a meat. It's a vegetable.
Or like a mishmash of single ingredients kind of tossed into a skillet.
Yeah, or it's a salad. It's a vegetable. It's a sweet potato. It's bacon and eggs. It's very, 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 very simple. But with the carnivore diet, as an example, today, what I ate was I had a pound of grass-fed hamburger. So I had 4 quarter-ounce burgers, seasoned in a cast iron pan, and I cooked it in some ghee. which gave it a nice flavor. And then I did 3 whole eggs. And that was, so far today it's 2 in the afternoon. I had 1 meal. I ate that all in 1 sitting. And then I just have the heavy cream and super cream in my coffee. Because after we podcast, I plan on going to the gym. And I am, I'm full. I have probably, I will eat after the gym for sure. I have a chuck roast in the crock pot right now, which is finished and it's just cooling down. So chuck roast is on the agenda for later. And I'm sure that's gonna cover me. It might be, it'll be at least another pound of meat. And that's a pretty light day. It depends on what my appetite's like after working out. It's probably going to get ramped up a bit. But it's generally been, all the meat, several pounds of meat a day, 2 to 4 pounds of meat. Yesterday it was sardines and eggs. I had microwaved eggs and sardines at work yesterday. Because that's all I had available to me, and I was busy. So I microwaved some eggs. I opened 2 cans of sardines. And
everyone's face right now as they're watching this is exactly what Aubrey's was this morning.
Yeah. I literally just took the sardines and put them on top of the microwaved eggs. And I'm telling you, it didn't bother me at all. It tasted, when you're not eating any sugar and you're not eating any vegetables, your taste changes. And it was
I've
fine.
Never had sardines before.
They're like, I buy, like a higher quality, there's differences in sardines, and I go for the higher quality sardines, the ones that are in the oils. But I like them, but there are also some little bones in the sardines. So you're getting some extra trace minerals from the bones. And you're getting your omega-3s, which you're not going to get with just your regular muscle meat. So I do it more for that, although I like the taste.
Bones in it?
Yeah, I mean, they fillet the sardine and they get most of the bone out, but there's always, they're so soft, you can't feel them.
I was going to say, is it like
cartilage? It's like cartilage. Yeah. Bone might not be, it's bone, but it's more like it's a soft bone. You would never notice it if you were eating it, you wouldn't feel it while you're eating it. But the next thing I'm going to look into is an actual collagen supplement, which Great Lakes company makes a great collagen supplement, an organic one.
Yeah, I think we both were using that at one point.
Yeah, grass-fed bones and bone meal. I'm going to look into bone meal, and I will probably this weekend stop down at the Lexington Co-op for some grass-fed liver, which I do like in small amounts. I don't eat like a whole liver, but a couple ounces, maybe fried up with the eggs, something like that.
What's the liver from a cow?
From the cow, yeah. But it's Standfast Farms, grass-fed cow. Real high quality stuff, local.
I don't have liver either.
And it covers a lot of nutrient needs. Although some people that do the carnivore diet don't do any liver, they don't do any collagen, they just eat the muscle meat and they're perfectly fine. With just eating like ribeyes and steaks. And most people probably don't do the extra nose to tail carnivore, but I'm gonna do a little bit of blend of both, and I still do, like I said, cream, a little bit of dairy, the ghee, the butter. I don't mind putting a little cheese in some things, but I just have to watch how much, because it does.
Yeah.
I do have an allergic effect to it. If I get too much, skin gets itchy, a lot of mucus, stuff like that. But sometimes you just want to taste what you want to taste, and I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to make a religion out of it.
Yeah. What does liver taste like?
It's terrible. No. No, it's not a great taste. I don't love it. I'm literally just adding it because of the vitamins. It's really, really high in a lot of vitamins and minerals. So that's why I'm like 2 ounces. You do that maybe once or twice a week. Fry it up in some butter, just a little bit, and yeah. It is what it is. And you don't have to have it. It's just something that if I think that I can, it's not like I have to plug my nose and eat it, but if I can.
Like I was with the elderberry?
Yeah, if I could pull a little more benefit from it, I'll tell you what, my energy's been good. Sleep's been good.
Have you been doing any of the liver already?
I haven't done the liver. I have to go down to the Lexington Co-op. I'm going to call ahead because I have gone down there before and it was sold out. So I just, I'll call ahead, and if it's in stock, I'm going to go down and get it.
I'm a little intrigued by the liver.
Yeah, I'll make it for you. You can have a little taste.
Thank you.
You got to at least try.
Yeah, I know. Now I'm sitting here thinking about the sardines too. I figure we've tried how many other things.
We'll do some sardines and liver this weekend.
All at one time?
It's a date, yeah. And we'll wash it down with some elderberry.
I thought you loved me.
So that's what I'm eating, at least these days. I like it. I'm dropping my workouts, which is another question. But I'm dropping my workouts down from 6 days a week to 4 days a week. Now, don't misunderstand me. Yes, I was lifting weights 6 days a week, but they weren't all high volume workouts. Some days I would just do like some small triceps, abs, and calves on certain days, like some small body parts for some accessory work. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to boil it down to 4 days.
Increase the intensity a little bit.
Yeah, I'm going to, 3 days of the week, we'll always have pull-ups, push-ups, and sit-ups, which is pull-ups, dips, and push-ups, which is another question that I have to get to. And then I'm going to be bringing a bench press, barbell bench press, deadlift, squat, overhead press with some accessory work. So I think if I just focus on a few, less exercises and more of just the big moves, get in, get out of the gym. And on the other days, do some walking, some jump rope, and some rowing.
Yeah.
I think this diet it'll be a better match.
Do you feel like because I know you've done it, I know you've done the carnivore diet in the past. Do you feel like you recover better?
I haven't thus far had any problem with recovery. The recovery's fine, but
yeah,
I can definitely tell I don't have that fifth gear yet. Where I just don't have that.
It's with any nutrition plan. You almost have to get into a swing of things, and your body has to adapt a little bit to what you're doing.
And I think the lack of carbohydrates are not giving me that. I don't have that extra zip from that muscle glycogen.
Yeah,
I'm assuming that it's almost like the ketogenic diet. When you start the ketogenic diet, you lose so much fluid and glycogen. You go a little bit flat with your workouts, and I understand that, so I'm not worried about it. I'm willing to put performance on the back burner as long as I'm feeling good. I feel that I'm looking good. I don't feel bloated. Everything internally is feeling really well. Like I said, the sleep and the energy, all that right now, and getting a better understanding of the diet, what foods work best for me and how much of those foods, still kind of regulating my appetite, just really trying to get a grip on the diet, and the exercise right now is secondary, not going away by any means, but it's just not looking to break any records at this point. And I know I'm willing to be patient, take the time, and let's see at the end of 2 more weeks, maybe 2 more months, if this is something that's bearing any fruit. Is this something worth sticking with? Now, don't get me wrong. I absolutely, there's going to be times where I'm going to have something that's not carnivore. I am drinking coffee. I'm not afraid to have a little coconut oil. If I wanted some peanut butter or an avocado, I'm not going to go, consider myself a failure. If I want to have a couple of beers on the weekend, I'm not going to consider myself a failure. I'm not going to consider the diet a failure.
Right.
Taking it
not all is lost.
Just taking it all in stride.
Yeah. So I got 2 questions real quick before we move on. The first one is, so even though you're doing this carnivore diet, it shouldn't be confused with a ketogenic diet. You're not necessarily going to be in ketosis, as you probably won't, because your protein will be too high to allow you to run off of ketones.
Well,
is that a good assumption, or is that not right?
Well, yeah, they're two totally different diets, of course.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
the ketogenic diet, the primary goal is to get into a state of ketosis. Carnivore
Right.
diet is primary goal is to eliminate plant food and eat all animal-based product. So those are the
Right.
two.
Two separate, completely separate entities, just so people aren't
Of course.
confused in thinking that. So then my other question is.
But let me just finish that, because I did mention this in the video I did on Wednesday. Is I don't recommend, if you're doing the carnivore diet, to even test for ketosis, because you may get into ketosis. You likely will. You'll probably roller coaster in and out of it.
Sure.
But that's not the goal of it. So
yeah,
you test for it. Okay, you're in. Okay, you're out. What difference does it make? It's
kind of like pick and decide what your, what the reasoning is, or what you're trying to accomplish.
Which is the first thing that I talked about was you need a why. Why are you doing this?
Right.
You need a why. And I established a whole bunch of reasons that might be your why. And if ketosis is your why, then you're better off just doing the ketogenic diet, in my opinion. Right. But I did test myself. And yesterday I was in and out of ketosis. So I registered some ketones on the urine strips. I registered, then it went down some trace amounts, and then none. And I didn't test.
That was throughout the day?
Throughout the day, yeah. It was just, again, out of curiosity.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do think you'll be rolling in and out of ketosis, but it's not changing any of my habits.
Sure. Yeah. So my second question is, with the mouth of the South over here, my second question is, I know that you've done a vegan diet before. And how would you say, just even from your past experiences, the comparison, I guess, between the two in your energy, how you felt, and it's, I guess this all really, at the end of it, goes back down to preference, or maybe even beliefs. But what did you notice in the difference between the two of them, or comparing?
I honestly didn't feel bad for the 5 months of the vegan diet that I was doing, because I still, and I made it pretty hard on myself, because I still avoided the soy, I still avoided legumes, and I avoided grains. Yeah. And that, for most people's vegan diet, those are the primary food sources.
That's their staples.
Those are their staples. They do a lot of soy, they do a lot of tofu, lentils and beans, which all that stuff. I can't eat that. That would wreck me. I did do, I'm sure I did a little bit of grains here and there, maybe like some Ezekiel bread or some things that, sprouted. They had some sprouted legumes in there, which is another question we got to get to. Not much of it. It was really almost doing I know it sounds crazy, but almost like a low carb, low-ish, all things considered, carb vegan diet, which sounds very contradictory. But I was using coconut oils. I was doing putting that in my coffee for the extra fats. Occasionally I did do some butter. That would, obviously doesn't qualify as vegan, but I wasn't perfect. There was some occasional butter in my diet.
Yeah, but when it came to the meat, I mean,
I didn't eat any. No. I did pea protein. I did do some protein supplementing. I was using a powder that was a pea protein. I did buy some of those Beyond the Meat.
I think I still have some of the chicken actually in my freezer rather.
And I used those, and those were the better choices that I was able to find, because they were low carb. They were made from pea protein as opposed to soy, and so on. So I was able to navigate that, but it was very hard to get my protein intake up. And as time went on, I felt like I couldn't recover from my workouts. And I know that sounds kind of cliche, but I did feel beat up and sore going, and I had to kind of make those adjustments. That was definitely a primary, almost like a deal breaker for
Yeah.
me. 'Cause I didn't want to just keep adding more protein supplements to my diet. I was going to the bathroom because of all the fiber, like constant. I mean, I was just like massive, not to be gross, but massive bowel movements. I just like,
Right.
holy cow, because it was just plant
Multiple
matter.
times throughout the day because it's just going right through you.
Well, and then you would be, I would feel very, I would feel all that bulk, because I'm
Yeah.
eating salads and carrots and peppers and avocado and
Yeah, you were turning orange. I mean, oranger than usual.
yeah, but that happens when I do a lot of pumpkin and sweet potatoes, even if it's not. It's
Oh,
the
I know.
beta carotene, carrots, sweet potatoes, pumpkin, which I like.
Hmm.
Um, so the difference being is that with the carnivore diet, no bloating at all. I mean, none. I feel light. No, even if
Yeah.
after eating a pound or two of meat, I feel very light. I have less frequent. I'm a very regular person when it comes to bowel movements. I never have really any issues. Um, but there's less bulk and they're less frequent. And that's just because everything that you're eating, as far as those meats,
Yeah. It's
whatever
being used.
animal product, your body's breaking it down and it's
Yeah.
using it. It's absorbing all those proteins and using the fats, breaking those fats down for energy. And there's not much left after. There's no fiber. So
Right.
that's why you feel very light. And I think that also helps keep your energy up because you're not getting all this blood rushing to your gut
Digestive.
to
Yeah.
help the digestive process. You're not always just
Right.
churning and churning and churning. So I would chalk up that as a benefit for the carnivore diet. The fiber, I think, is greatly misrepresented as being like this. You have to have so much fiber in your diet. It's a superfood, and you need it. And I don't see that. I don't see it that way at all. And there's really no evidence. The more I look, I can't find any evidence that there's any need for fiber at all, and there isn't. So, I mean, what's it going to do? It causes bloating. It causes gas. The only thing I can say it's good for is if you have a subpar diet and you wanted fiber to slow down the your insulin spike, so adding fiber to food to slow down the digestive process. So you want to pick high fiber food, so it takes longer for your body to break those sugars down, so you're not getting rapid insulin spikes. Okay. Or how about you just not eat the sugar, cut
Right.
back on the
Mhm.
carbohydrates, and you don't have to worry about the insulin spikes.
Sure.
Or using fiber to try to give yourself a sense of fullness, eating a big salad. And that's why people like to eat the salad first to try to feel full so
Right.
you don't overeat on the bread and the pasta and everything else. Well, how about just eliminating the foods that you're overeating because you have either no self-control for, or because they break down so quick and raise your blood sugar because the pasta just turns straight into glucose. Why not just avoid that and eat a higher protein, higher fat diet that satisfies all those needs instead of trying to play tricks on yourself?
Right. Well, and people, we've heard people say that they just don't want to give it up. I mean, literally people will
Well,
just flat out tell us that.
yeah,
And
I get it. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's choice. Everybody's got a choice of what they
oh
what they
yeah,
want to do, and I
right,
understand that. Believe me, I'm not saying everybody should run out and start eating a carnivore diet. It's not for everyone. Um, it might not even be for me. I'm very early in the stages of it. I am enjoying it. I do feel good on it, but I'm not delusional. I'm taking it on a day-to-day basis with an open mind to stay or abort. I think I'm treating it very experimentally still at this point because there's really not a lot of it's a lot of n equals one information as far as people's experiences on the internet and social media. And I am in some of these groups, these zero carb groups and carnivore groups, and I'm just trying to
yeah,
weed my way through. looking to experts and people that have been doing it for a long time, for years and
Yeah,
tens of years.
Michaela Peterson, right?
She does it, but I'm definitely not using her as an expert on it.
No, but she is somebody I know that that she does it and has had a whole skew of health issues beforehand.
Sure. But she's starting to try to monetize it. Her version's called the Lion Diet. So she's trying to make her own brand of it. When it's just eat meat and
you're just eating meat.
Yeah.
Meat and water.
But it is what it is. Very interesting.
Interested to see how it all goes and
yeah.
I'm just thinking about the liver and sardines, and I don't know. We'll see how that goes.
If we get some this weekend, we'll report on it on the next week's podcast. So people were asking me about the diet. I also, which I kind of touched on, how often should I work out? And again, that's a very individual question. And an example that I just gave is I was working out 6 days a week for myself, although they weren't all high intensity workouts. The intensity and the volume of the workouts varied. I generally work out on a 31-day schedule that I already have mapped out for the month. So I already have the amount of volume that I'm going to exercise for the month planned out. It's not on a, I get into the gym and decide that day. My month is already structured. So that's how I control the volume to determine how often I should work out. But there's now a new factor, right? My diet has changed. So now I need to accommodate my diet / lifestyle with my exercise. And I know I have to go down to 4 days a week for now until maybe I adapt or maybe I don't adapt. That remains to be seen. So you have to have some intuition, some common sense. You have to go by how your body feels. You know the difference, or I would hope that you would know the difference between taking a healthy day off for recovery, to let your body heal and grow, and you're not just being lazy and talking yourself out of it. There's a difference.
Yeah.
I'm not talking myself out. I wish I can continue to successfully go 6 days a week, but I think I'm better off on the 4-day-a-week schedule right now. Maybe throwing in on those other days some more stretching, focus on the recovery, throw in that yoga class, more Epsom salts, stuff like that.
Shiatsu. Yeah. And, you brought up the intuition, and actually a question on the other side of that is that people have asked is, how do you know when you need to rest? And I think that is also a good question that people have. And I always tell people, if you are excessively sore, then that might be, and you've done days and days in a row, that might be a good opportunity to maybe not necessarily rest, but do like active rest, like walking, the light stretching and that kind of thing. But I would say you know your body, and there are times that you do need to rest. Like these past few days, I haven't exercised. I exercised Sunday morning, but then I've been sick since then. And it wasn't like just a cough sick. It was, respiratory, and my body felt achy and weak. And at this point, I just know my body well enough that that's what I needed. I had, especially if a physician is telling you that you need to rest. We have somebody that was diagnosed, she had pneumonia, and she was being treated for it. And the doctor told her she had to take 10 days off to rest. And she was like, this really sucks. And I'm like, I get it. And I've had pneumonia before. And it really does. It stinks having to rest. But if you don't take the opportunity to rest, you're just going to prolong the process of healing yourself and getting yourself better. So just, I think also too, making sure that you have some awareness and you're following some of the guidance. And especially if you're working with a trainer, I would like to, I mean, I've flat out told people you need to cool it. You got to take a day off. You need to let your body recover. You've done 16 workouts in a week. We got to let your body, recover a little bit here. So, knowing when to rest, it's not being, it can't go back to like, oh, I just don't feel like doing this today. There has to be kind of logic and reason behind it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. One of the cues that, and again, just knowing, this is me knowing me, is when I don't want to get under the squat bar. When I feel like I can't put that, like I'm thinking about it the day before, like I plan on squatting tomorrow. I know I'm going to train my legs tomorrow, and I've been squatting, and I just do not want to put that heavy bar on my back. That's usually the first sign that I'm starting to have a little bit of burnout. Mm-hmm. It doesn't mean I'm going to skip my workout, but what usually I end up doing is either finding an alternate exercise. I may go to a commercial gym and use the leg press instead. Yeah. I'm still going to train my legs, but for some reason, the first thing that when I'm feeling the burn, whether it's just from not enough sleep, it could be some, maybe my food is a little off, stress, whatever it is. First thing is always the squat gets kicked out of my workout. When if I'm scheduled to deadlift and I don't feel like deadlifting, which I like, then I know something's got to change. Either I have to change up my workouts, I have to change up the volume on my workouts, I need a rest day. Generally, I can keep the same schedule, and I don't need to take a bunch of days off, but I need to address the sleep. I need to address the hydration, the nutrition. I need to address the recovery. And as long as I don't let it get out of hand, it's usually a pretty easy fix. Like, boom, I know I got to go down to 4 days a week instead of 6 and change the structure of things.
Yeah.
So your body, those are my signs for me. My body tells me when, it's time to deload a little bit here.
Yeah. Well, and there's even been times, especially when I've been doing like a power program, and I need to make sure for me personally that I take that 4th week as a deload, because there's been times where I tried to do a 6-week cycle where I did 3 and 3 and I skipped my deload. And by the time that I get to like, I'd say mid-week 4 or almost beginning of week 5, it's kind of like you said, like that feeling of like, oh God, I just don't even want to do this. But then also I start to feel it in my joints a little bit more than I'd like. And for me, that's just, I think it goes back to, even with power programming, I can't as a, I guess like from an athlete standpoint, as somebody who doesn't use any kind of performance enhancing drugs, I don't recover like them. So I can't train the same way. And I think that that's something that a lot of people don't understand too, because I don't use those. So I don't have that same ability to recover.
Well, the other thing, I was just having a conversation with one of the guys in our powerlifting group, the heavy metal club. I was talking with Jim, and he's like, well, what do you think? You're going to do another competition, powerlifting competition? I'm like, I don't know. Because I know that for me to do it, I'd want to do it well. I know for me to hit the type of, I have certain standards and numbers stuck in my head, which I would normally tell somebody. First, I'll tell you what I'm thinking, and I'll tell you what, as a coach, what I would tell somebody to do that I'm not doing for myself. So I have certain numbers set in my head that I would want to obtain on the platform as a minimum. I think I can obtain them, but I know what I would have to do to get those numbers. I would have to put on about 15 more pounds from where I am at now, which I don't want to do. I would have
Right.
to get, a minimum. I'd have to get my weight up to about, into the low 180s, make a little cut, maybe get into the 181 class. I've also competed in the 198 class. And I was really strong at 198. And I think if I did that, I think I can blow, for me, my numbers, I think I would be able to blow some numbers out of the water.
Sure.
Do I want to
How
put on,
comfortable would you be though?
what's that?
I mean, like how comfortable, like you said, I mean,
Yeah,
getting
and
to that
it would
weight,
be
how
fun for a
comfortable would
little bit. It would be fun to, eat, a little more freely and train really hard, and it would be fun. But I know that I wouldn't want to stay there, and
Right.
taking that weight off, it
Oh,
just
yeah.
doesn't, it's never been easy, and it's not
No.
going to get any easier. And it's
Right.
tough for me to maintain even right where I am now. And I'd rather have as I age, I'd rather bring my body weight down. I think not only just for overall health, I like the way I look and feel at a lower body weight. So I'm not willing to do that.
Right.
So that's the reality of it, is I'm just not willing to do what it takes. No excuses. I'm just not willing to
Not
do
that there's
it.
anything wrong with that either. I think it
No, it's
all
the
goes down
truth.
to,
It's the truth.
yeah.
I'm not gonna, and if I try to do that, it might beat my body up because I'm not willing to eat the way I'm supposed to and take maybe I should be taking creatine and that type of stuff because you should be doing whatever it's going to take to reach that
Right.
goal.
Right.
It's not a priority right now. Now, if I was the client, now I'm going to play coach, I would say, well, what about getting into the 165 class, which is light for you, never competed at that weight, and just try to put any number up on the board at 165, because whatever you do, no matter how small that number is, it's going to be a record for you at that weight class.
Right.
And then you can, if that's where you want to keep your body weight, in that lower 160s, mid 60s,
And then focus on just building your strength from there.
building your strength in that weight range and competing in
Right.
that weight range if that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
But I
So,
don't
and
think I'm going to do that either. But
that's fair.
but if I was, that would be the route I would take. I'd get my weight down a little bit, get under the 165, go up there, put a number up, then clearly not going to be happy with, but then I would have something to train and beat.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah, I could see that. It's hard because I think especially once, because even for me, like myself personally, so I think that like my highest pull, I think was 330. And I think my highest ever bench was 185 for a single, both for singles. But I was also, where am I at right now? I think I'm at 136 right now. I was 30, 40, 50. I was probably about 20 to 25 pounds heavier, and I was not comfortable at that weight.
Yeah.
Was I pumped that I was able to bench 185? I think I don't remember if I got 190. I know I got 185 because I was pumped that I got the plate and the little saucer there. But I just wasn't comfortable. So for me, kind of like you made mention of, that is, for me personally, I don't feel like it's worth it, because as much as I love to be able to be strong, I think that I would rather be strong at a body composition that I'm comfortable at being, and that I'm able to then do the pull-ups and still be strong. I'm able to do those obstacle course races and be able to pull myself up over the walls. I'm able to run around with the girls, and and then I think just straight up being comfortable in my own skin, especially because I think for more of my life, I was uncomfortable and probably unhealthy than I've been healthy and comfortable. It's just kind of a place that I don't really want to go back to. So for me, it's not worth it.
Yeah.
And I would like to just kind of stay where I'm at, or maybe even down 5 to 10 pounds and just focus on strength there. So I think really at the end of the day, like you said, it comes down to, what do you want to accomplish? And I think that goes all the way back to the beginning of putting goals into perspective and making sure that you're staying consistent with what you're trying to do. You can't try to be focusing on weight loss and your strength at the same time, or all of this. We've talked about all of these
Sure.
things.
I just laid it out there. I'd be delusional if I thought that I was going to go in there and hit those numbers that I have in my head that I would like to reach if I wasn't willing to put on that extra weight to aid my training.
Right.
It would be foolish of me to think that.
It's hard for people to hear that though, because people, they want to, and even you think of like the bodybuilding shows and the physique show, all the physique shows, and yeah, you look jacked, but it's all show and no go, because at that point you have hardly any strength left. I remember when I was in peak week, I think I was lifting like 5 or 10 pound dumbbells, and it felt like I had like 55-pound dumbbells in my hands. It's crazy.
Kristen was just in, who's training for her bikini show. She said this just Thursday, yesterday. She said,
frustrating.
She said, I feel so weak. And she's not weak, but weak relative to her. And you can just see, she's like,
she's strong.
She's very strong. But you can, it's declining, as it should be. And all I said was, nobody's going to ask you to lift anything on stage.
Right.
It doesn't matter.
Right.
It doesn't matter. Don't, you know what I mean? Don't stay focused on what you have to do. Nobody's going to ask you to, it's a bikini show. You don't have to lift anything on stage. We got to
and that's a tough perspective to keep. I mean, and you have to keep that into perspective. And as a reminder that, I mean, really at that point, you're just trying to maintain the muscle that you have with the limited amount of food going in. And you're not focusing on strength at that point.
Yeah.
But it's hard when you know how strong
you
are. I mean, I remember at one point you told me, you're like, don't even touch the barbell anymore. If it's going to mentally frustrate you, stick with the dumbbells. Because before I competed and did that figure show, we did that November, we did that powerlifting event. And our whole team did really well. That was our, we had made the jokes about feeling like the Olympians, because we all left in our relative weight and age class with the first place, finishes. So to go from competing as a power lifter and then having to totally change gears and focus more on the physique aspect of it. I remember you telling me, you're like, if this is going to be mentally daunting, don't even touch the barbell anymore.
Yeah. And
it really did. It got to that point because I was like, I don't understand how I went from being able to deadlift almost, 270 pounds or whatever it was, to feeling like I was lifting this, 95, 135. And I was like, man, this is the worst.
Yeah. I remember putting 135 pounds on my back squatting, and I just felt like there was no cushion on my traps, and my traps I'm just like,
there wasn't.
Terrible. This is terrible. But you're a couple weeks out, and it is what it is. But yeah, so you got to stay focused on. So how often you should work out? Really, it's goal and individually orientated. Somebody asked, how do I set my macros? Again.
Oh, I get that one all the time too.
Context. We need context as to your goal, your individual goal. What are you looking to do? Are we maintaining our weight? Are we losing our weight? Are we trying to lose weight? How aggressively are we trying to lose weight? Are we trying to gain strength? So we have to take all these factors into consideration. Besides your activity level, which I think most people overestimate their activity level. I always put my activity level down. If I'm going to use an app and I want to see what it recommends for me per my goal, I always put lightly active. Whatever, there's always sedentary. I always just go one above sedentary. Now, I'm not sedentary Obviously, I work out a lot, but I don't, my job is not that physically demanding. Although yesterday I'm like thinking about it and I'm just constantly moving weights and barbells and putting all day long for hours and hours and hours. But I don't
Right.
I've been doing that for so many years. My body's used to that. That's my
Right.
new normal. So I'm not doing really
It's not like you
anything
went from a
above.
desk to
Yeah,
moving all of
it's so I would always recommend don't overestimate your daily activity. And I was also asked if they should consider or count the calories that they burn during their workout. And I always say no. No,
Right.
you set your calories and don't just because you burn 350 or 400 calories because your Fitbit told you that during your workout, that doesn't mean you get to eat 300 or 400 more calories. I would not do it that way. I'm sure there's some people that do. Maybe,
Right.
again, depending on their goal, maybe if they are looking to bulk up or get stronger, then yes, okay, I burned up all this energy. I need to put more in the tank. So I
Hmm.
have to add more to my diet because I want to recover quicker and get strength. So yes, there's always a case for that. But
Sure, but I
the
think it
weight
goes
loss,
back
I
to
wouldn't do
your goals.
that. So it's very contextual. All these things, what you should be eating, when you should be eating, why you should be eating, it's all contextual. I think
Sure.
most apps now, especially the Carb Manager app, and I'm sure my Fitness Pal is probably pretty good. If you put in your pertinent information that they ask for, I think they can get you in the ballpark pretty good. You
Yeah.
know, it might not be perfect,
They
but I'll be
actually
the
even
first
give
to
you the
say
different
that
options. They give
I
you the different options as to like, um, do you want to follow a low carbohydrate diet? Do you want to follow a ketogenic? I mean, I think that maybe it's the Carb Manager because I had somebody send over a screenshot and they were like, which one of these do I want? Which one of these do you think I should pick?
they even have
And
they even have carnivore on there now. Carb Manager added carnivore.
I think I might have seen that.
Yeah,
I think I might have seen that. But so it kind of seems like, because I feel like 5 years ago, you would, those apps, I think that they've caught up quite a bit.
sure.
Because like 5 years ago, I remember looking at it and I was like,
They were all
I don't,
low fat, high carb. That was your.
yeah, yeah. I was like, I wouldn't listen to what that is telling you. Let's talk about some numbers that might be actually a good plan for you. But it seems like they have all of these apps have kind of evolved a little bit to where they're not and maybe not being so what's the word I'm looking. I don't want to say narrow-minded. That's not what I'm looking for. But like the tunnel vision of only giving one option as to this is what you should do.
Absolutely.
Because also too, I mean, just with science, it's kind of showing that what maybe they suggested what should be done is maybe not quite what should be done anymore.
But I think the point is you have to put in the correct information for the app to give you a
Well, for sure.
reasonable information out. And one of the things I would do is not overestimate your level of activity. I would not, like I was working with someone who was showing me their setup, and they so you can reduce your overall calories. So it'll say, do you want to lose a half a pound a week, a pound a week? And
Yeah.
I don't subscribe to that necessarily about,
Right.
chop off, lower your calories by 500 a day. If you do that times 7, it's 350 calories, and you'll lose a pound a week. If you want to lose a pound and a half a week, you got to knock off 750 calories. Well, this particular person slid it over and made a 30% reduction in their calories to accelerate their weight loss. I'm like, I wouldn't do that. Let's slide that over to maybe 10%. Let's start there.
Yeah.
Let's
30%. That is like, that's aggressively aggressive.
aggressive. It was too, in my opinion, it was too aggressive. So I tried to set them back on track. Let's make,
Especially to be able to maintain that lifestyle. I mean, that's kind of goes back to everything that we're trying to teach everybody is that you want this to be sustainable, ideally. I mean, unless they're just trying to get to like an end game, I suppose. But what we're trying to teach people is lifestyle and be able to sustain it and, maintain everything that they're doing and to do that is
Plus, they
gonna
weren't familiar with tracking macros at all. So this was all new to them. And I'm just like, you're going to get blown out of the water because
yeah,
you're going to have no macros to work with because you just slashed 30% of them off of the top.
right.
So I would always err on the side of conservative. Um, Another thing I was asked about was I got some new sneakers that I've been sporting in the grotto. And everyone's like, wow, new sneakers. What are those? And this is not an endorsement. I don't get anything from this, but these are the best sneakers that I've come across. These are called Xero, Xero. So there's like no sole in them. There's an insole that comes out. They're very light. They only weigh a few ounces. This inside comes out. You can make them even lighter. Real lightweight material. They feel like you're wearing nothing on your feet. They're actually, I'm looking forward to doing some running in them. I want, because I do have an interest in doing a little bit of running this summer, a couple races that I'm eyeing up, just for fun.
Running the marathon again?
No, not the marathon, but we're talking about some even more
Straight up.
interesting, some long distance relay races.
Yeah.
As a team, putting teams together. So I think those will be a good addition to that, but they're great for working out in. And one of the biggest things I see holding people back sometimes, especially when it comes to squatting, lunging, doing anything on one leg, is their sneakers. They have these big chunky sneakers and they're trying to balance on this thick rubber sole that has, this incline or decline rather, from this heel down to the toe. So you're off center, you're off balance. I see
Well,
it.
trying to deadlift in those is awful.
Or just doing anything like a one leg stiff leg deadlift. It's like, oh my God, it's not you, it's your sneakers. You're trying to balance on foam and rubber. You need a solid base. Your foot can't find bottom. So I would recommend those sneakers for anything. Forget cross-training sneakers, running sneakers, workout sneakers. You only need one pair of sneakers. One pair of sneakers should satisfy everything, all of your athletic needs, unless you really, like, they do make powerlifting shoes, and there is a case for having a heel, but those heels are usually steel or really, really thick rubber that's not going to have any give to it. And that's just to give you a mechanical leverage depending on the length of your limbs. So something like that has purpose, but you're not going to do general workouts in those. Those are specific powerlifting equipment that you would just use on either a squat or a deadlift.
Yeah, I wanted to look into those actually for the squats. I know that you've told me that my shoes suck when I'm when I'm squatting. You're like, you need to get rid of those.
Yeah,
I wanted to. I got to look into those, the ones with the steel, the squat shoes.
But for any athletic endeavor, you need light, flat sneakers for your balance, for your center of gravity, so you can brace your core. And those particular ones I just showed you, those Xero sneakers, in my opinion,
Are those better than the New Balance Minimals?
They're better. They're lighter. The minimal ones have a 4mm grade. They did have one. I used to have a pair that was a 0 grade like that, but they don't make them anymore. I can't find anything less than 4mm, and that's Xero, completely flat. So
Where'd you find those?
Amazon?
Instagram.
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 I saw an advertisement. I looked into it a little bit, and then I just ordered them online right off their website. And they're obviously legit. I did also, before Christmas, order what are called super socks. And it was a complete scam. I got scammed. They were like
socks.
They were like the socks with the 5 fingers in them. They were supposed to be made from this super material that you can actually hike and run in. And I'm like, wow, that looks
I've been
great.
trying to find those shoes for you, but I can't find them. I haven't been able to find them.
Well, they're around, but these were socks, like knee-high socks. And they were supposed to have all these, so they would show like you can't cut them.
Not ripped off?
Yeah, right after. So I'm like, well, it's been like 4 weeks. I emailed them. hey, can I get a tracking number? What's going on? And then I go back and all their social media sites are down. Everything's down. And I read reviews. It was a total scam. They came out at Christmas, got me for like $40. I filed, through PayPal, because that's what I paid through, was PayPal. So there's an
Mhm.
open case. I don't know if I'll get any of the money back, but yeah, I got scammed.
Gotta look into, now that you're mentioning that, I ordered a purse probably about 4 weeks ago, and I'm wondering if I got ripped off. Should
Yeah,
probably look into that.
but that Zero is legit. I got the sneakers, and they've been around for a while. I've been watching those ads for at least a year now. This was just
Yeah.
like maybe 4 weeks before Christmas, and then once New Year's came, boom, it was over. All the social media websites down, emails dead, everything.
That stinks.
Yeah.
That's the problem. I mean, that's like the curse. There's, I guess an additional curse. The curse with the online shopping is that I guess we're all just taking chances with some of these things. You never know.
Well, I would just do more due diligence than I did on that. It was Christmas time. It was kind of in a rush. I just jumped on there, bought them.
Yeah. An impulse buy kind of thing.
No, I mean, I really wanted them. I mean, it was, I saw it come up a few times. Matter of fact, I sent it to somebody. I'm like, hey, check these out. And I'm assuming they didn't buy them, follow up and buy them, because they probably would have heard from them. I can't remember who I sent it to. Maybe somebody that was doing the powerlifting. I'm like, oh, these would be great for powerlifting. You can't get any more, flap than these.
Right.
Or running or whatever I was going to use them for.
Yeah.
We got time for maybe one or two more, Joe?
Yeah, just since the girls will be home at 3:15. We got about 20 minutes.
Yeah, no. We'll just a couple more. I was asked about peanuts and peanut butter. Why?
Yep. Another
Why
big
to
one.
avoid those? So peanuts have phytic acid in them, which what this does is it binds to nutrients when you digest not only the peanuts but whatever else you're eating it with, and it blocks absorption. So you're not getting all the nutrients absorbed into your body when you add peanuts or peanut butter. So you can see that could be problematic.
Right.
That goes along with beans and legumes, which peanuts are legumes, and they carry high amounts of this phytic acid. Now, nuts and seeds also do too. So things like almonds and cashews, they also have phytic acid, but most people don't. So like things like lentils and beans are oftentimes staple foods in people's diets, right? Especially if you're a vegetarian diet, a vegan diet. Those are the foods that they're going to eat a lot of because they're not, say, eating animal product. Where I don't think necessarily cashews and pecans or almonds are staple foods. They might be a
I
snack.
love me some cashews. As a matter of fact, I don't even buy them because if I buy them, I buy like one serving at a time because it's like I feel like some kind of addict to these cashews.
But the point being is that they're not staple foods in anybody's diet. They're
Right.
just not. Nobody's eating. I mean, it might be like a snack for somebody, like a daily snack, as
Right.
almonds are, but you're not basing meals around them. So once
Right.
you start basing meals around them, like say in a vegetarian or vegan diet, then you start getting absorption problems with nutrients. Now, things like I said, like kale and almonds have the same phytic acids. But again, how often are you eating kale? You're having a serving here and there, maybe once a week, every couple weeks. Generally not, they're not staple foods. Now with the peanuts in particular, they contain a carbohydrate called galacto oligosaccharides. Galacto-oligosaccharides is the type of carbohydrate found in a peanut. And these cause digestive issues. So once they go into the digestive system, your GI system. They irritate the gut lining, your gut lining, your intestinal walls, and then that could create what's known as leaky gut syndrome, and then that can trigger an autoimmune response. So there's other foods that, again, these lectins and galacto oligosaccharides are also found in things like grains and even some dairy. So that's why dairy, legumes, and grains have the highest concentrations of these types of carbohydrates. So oftentimes that's why your gut gets irritated, hence creating the leaky gut syndrome, which can cause an autoimmune flare-up. So those are the main reasons why we recommend avoiding those particular foods. Now, there are a way that you can fix that especially with legumes, by sprouting them, soaking them, and sprouting the beans and whatever it is that you want to eat. So you get partially sprouted beans, shuts off the lectin and that phytic acid, and then they become more digestible. But you'd have to go through that extra process if you're willing to do that, or you can find food products that have, and it will say on the label, if they are partially sprouted, then you would have a better chance at digesting those particular foods.
It sounds like a lot of work.
It is, and if you really want them and you're willing to do the work, you'll probably have better results with them. And the other thing was dairy. Again, dairy can be an allergen to some people. So depending on the person, individual results will vary on how your body responds to dairy. And I was just talking to somebody who says they can't lose weight when they eat dairy. And I know the situation is that they just overeat cheese. They're following a low carbohydrate diet, but they overeat the cheese. They know it, they know it's their go-to, and they're the type of person with the cheese that they can't just have a little, so they always have too much. So when their weight loss stalls, at least they know enough that they have to get it out of their diet. It's just a personal thing that there's some self-control issues with the dairy, and everybody has that. Like you were just saying, yours and mine as well, cashews. I always overeat cashews because they're delicious. And to me, they're like potato chips. I just can't stop. So if you know that about yourself, remove them. And in both cases, cashews and dairy, they're very calorically dense. They have at least a piece of cheese, because it is mostly all fat. There's going to be a lot of calories, and your body is going to end up using those calories from the cheese as its primary source of energy before it taps into your own body fat. In the case of cashews, it's fat, and believe it or not, they're also pretty high in carbohydrates.
Yeah, I was going to say they're carbohydrates. I think that was it 9 or 14 grams per serving? I can't recall exactly off the top of my head with that one, but I remember looking at it the one day when I put it into Carb Manager a while ago, and I was like, oh, well, that's interesting. So I think it was when I was doing actually following like a ketogenic diet, and I was like, well,
those don't work.
These just aren't going to work.
You're better off with almonds or walnuts.
Yeah.
And then the last question I had was about push-ups, how to improve your push-ups.
Do them.
And this what I'm going to explain here applies really well for push-ups, pull-ups, and body weight dips. So what I would do is figure out what the really good quality push-ups you can do for one set. So for easy numbers, let's say you can do 10. Now, even if you can't do 10 push-ups from your toes, then I would say from a kneeling push-up position, however you're going to modify them, whatever you can do, full range of motion, quality push-ups, whatever that number is. But for easy math purposes, let's say you can do 10 push-ups, regular push-ups or modified. You're going to cut that number in half. So if it was 8, you would make it 4. But let's take 10. What I would recommend to build up your push-ups, you're going to do 5 sets of push-ups. You're going to do a set of 5. You're going to do a set of 4 in this order, a set of 3, a set of 2, and then 1 push-up. So you should be able to perform this very easily. If you can do 10, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 is going to be very easy. Then what you're going to want to do is the next time you do a push-up, you're going to add 1 rep to your last set. So it would look like this: 5, 4, 3, 2, and then you would add 1, and your last set would become 2.
Right.
The next time, you're going to add a rep to your second last set. So it becomes 5, 4, 3, 3, 2. And you keep moving it up the ladder. So then you would add the rep the next time to your second set, or to your third set. So it becomes 5, 4, 4, 3, 2. And then 5, 5, 4, 3, 2. And then you go back to the beginning. So it'd be 5, 5, 4, 3, 3. And you just keep adding it to the last set, next time, second last set, third last set, fourth, and you just add until eventually you get them all to 5s, and you're doing 5 sets of 5. Once you can do 5 sets of 5, you start again, and you do a set of 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and start the whole process over again.
So basically you are doing 5 sets, just changing the rep scheme. You're doing a descending
Yep.
ladder.
And then you add a rep each session. So say you're going to do it 3 times a week. So after the end of your first sessions, again, we'll stick with the 5 example: 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Your second session is going to be 5, 4, 3, 2, 2. Your next session, your third session will be 5, 4, 3, 3, 2. So what would your next session be? It would be 5, 4, 4, 3, 2, and then 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, until they all become 5s. Then you raise it to 6, and you start again. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. And then you start adding 1. Add 1 to your last set. 6, 5, 4, 3, 3. 6, 5, 4, 4, 3. Until they all become 6s. And then you move them up to 7. 7, 5, 4, 3. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. And then you keep adding to them until they all become 7s. And then you move up to 8. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, until they all become 8s. And you just, over time, eventually, you're one set.
When do you retest?
You don't have to. I wouldn't even bother with the retest. Try to get up to 5 sets of 10. If you can, we're only able to do 1 set of 10, and now you're doing 5 sets of 10. You can imagine how your top end is going to improve. So let's say you weren't able to even do 10. Say you can only do 8. You would cut the 8 in half. You would do a set of 4, 3, 2, 1, 1. And then you
don't get a set of 0 in there?
Yeah, obviously not a 0. And then you would add from the bottom up until they all became 4s. Then you would be at 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then you start the process again.
Right.
If you were only able to do 6, you would cut the 6 in half. You would do 3, 2, 1, 1, 1. Until they all became 3s. And then you would make it move up to 4. Spread out the ladder, work your way up. That works great for push-ups, pull-ups, and dips. Say you can do 3 pull-ups, right? Then all I would do is I would start with a set of 2, 1, 1, 1, 1, and then try to add 1 until those all become 2s.
That's a good idea. I'm going to start implementing that myself with the pull-ups. I've been stuck at give or take, if I lose 5 pounds, I can squeak out 3 to 5 more, but anywhere between 12 and 15. So then what? You cut it, we'll say cut it in half. I'll say
so you got
6.
12, yeah. Then you go 6, 5, 4, 3, 2 would be your 5 sets.
Yeah. So that would be 1 session. So say that was on Monday. So then I came back on Wednesday. Then it would be 6, 5, 4, 3, 3.
Yep.
Got it. And then Friday would be 6, 5, 4, 3. 4, 3.
Then
I have to write that
5, 5, 4, 3. Then 6, 6, 5, 4, 3. Got it?
Got it. Yeah, I think so. I'm gonna have to write it. I'm gonna have to write this down on
Once you
paper.
write it down, it'll make sense. Now, if you can't even do one pull-up, or if you can't do dips, then I would recommend finding a machine that gives you assistance.
Yeah.
Or if you're going to use a band or something. So whatever you can do for assistance,
Yeah.
give yourself enough assistance to do a set of 10, and then do the same thing. Cut it in half, use the same rep scheme with the assistance. Okay? Build those sets up. So now all of a sudden you can do 10 sets with that assistance. And then when you can do 10 or 5 sets of 10, decrease the resistance.
Sure.
Chop the reps down and start again.
Yeah. I think in doing that too, that's a great plan. But as we've talked about too before, I think people need to make sure that they're performing the exercise correctly. Because, you know, I've seen obviously with push-ups, we fix form. That's like the first thing that we fix, because if you're not performing the exercise correctly. But the other big thing is with pull-ups, you see too many people where they're going straight from a dangle and they're not really engaging their back muscles. They're trying to pull from a straight, like a dead hang, and they're not using their back. They're trying to use basically their shoulders and their biceps to pull themselves up. So, you know, that's something always to take into consideration too, is making sure that you're using the right muscles. I think for the pull-ups, the best exercise, or the best thing that I found that seems to help, there's different ways, you know, that, and I've helped with people, you know, we have those, the bar rows where you start with the bar. But even that lat pull down machine, if you can get the grip and focus on pulling your shoulders down and back, so that way you're engaging your back and actually getting used to the feeling of using your back muscles and not trying to pull from that dead hang, because it makes a difference and you're totally losing a big primary muscle group in trying to do those pull-ups too. So finding out and making sure and ensuring that you're using proper form, and then using that rep scheme technique, I think is a great idea.
Another way to break through a plateau, say you're chest pressing dumbbells, and say the 35 pounders are basically where you're topping out, say for a set, again, we'll say a set of 10. And you want to increase your 10 rep max. What I would do is, if 35 is your max dumbbells, drop down to 30s, go one increment down, and then you're going to go 30s, let's see, 30, 25, 20, 1, 2, 3, 15, 10. You're going to do, and you're going to work from light to heavy. You'll do your set of 10 first, then your 15, your 20, your 25, and then your 30. Next week, you eliminate that first set of 10, and you move it up the ladder to 15. So it'll be 30, 25, 20, 15, 15.
Those are reps, or that's the weight?
That's the weight. So you're instead of manipulating the reps, you manipulate the weight. So then the following week, you're going to go 15, 20, 20, 25, 30. And then the next week.
How many reps is that for?
Oh, whatever it is, whatever your reps are. So say it was a 10 rep max, you would do all the 10s.
So you would go 10 with the 10-pound dumbbells, 10 with the 12-pound dumbbells, 10 with the 15, 10 with the 20s.
Well, I skipped the 12s, but yeah.
Yeah, whatever's in there. So all of them for 10 reps. Got
all
it.
of them for 10 reps. And then you increase the first set. So the 10s become 15. So it goes 15, 15, 20, 25, 30. Then you increase the second set. So then it goes 15, 20, 20, 25, 30. And then the next time you would increase the third set. So it would go 15, 20, 25, 25, 30. Next session goes 15, 20, 25, 30, 30. Next session, you go back to the beginning. You eliminate the 15s, and then it becomes 20, 20, 25, 30, 30. And then you go back the second last set, 20, 25, 25, 30, 30. Next section, 20, 25, 30, 30, 30. Until they get, eventually they all become sets of 30. So again, where you once maxed out for one set of 30, now you're doing 5 sets of it for the same amount of reps. If you can do that, all of a sudden you're going to be able to easily pick up the 35s, the 40s, and get at least one set out, and you break through that plateau. But it gives you enough time to get strong at that movement without constantly, I just see it too often where people are constantly trying to grab the next set of weights and fail. Grab the next set, trying to get a set of 10, they get to 8, they get stuck, they fail. And then if you're constantly beating your head against that wall, it doesn't mean you're going to break through. You need to kind of ramp and get some momentum to build yourself up through a linear progression. It's one way to do it. It takes patience, but I guarantee it'll work. And I could apply that to any exercise. It'll give you enough time to, you're going to get enough practice with repetitions. So you have a lot of exposure to it. You can perfect your movements. You can build speed. You can learn a lot from that.
I think a lot of what that all comes down to is exactly what you said. And it's the key to all of it is the patience, because it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen overnight. And the only way to get better at it is to do it. You can't say you want to get better at push-ups, but you don't want to do them. Right.
And you have to, you can't underestimate the importance. Everyone's, people will say like, really, I'm just going to do a set of 1, and they're going to dismiss it. So they might not want to do that and automatically want to do more. To me, that's like cutting your calories too low. Do the work, make sure that that's the best push-up, the most controlled push-up, the deepest push-up, and the most explosive push-up that you're doing. It becomes practice. Same thing, like if you can do 35-pound dumbbells, why would you want to start with a set of 10s? Well, you just might need that set of 10 to just first program your movement pattern on the first set to make your second set better. Your second set makes your third set better. It becomes practice. You need 10,000 repetitions to become an expert at it. And you just might have enough of them under your belt. It works. It's practice. It's no different than a golf swing, right? How many times, if you play golf, how many times do you swing that club, especially, off the tee? It becomes a lot of swings, and that's the only way to get better.
Right. Yeah. Golf swings. That'll be nice. Golf season's coming.
You can have it. All right, Jill. I think that's pretty good for today. We went pretty long. Again, if you find any of this information helpful, give us a like. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and we'll talk to you guys next week.
We'll keep you posted on the liver and sardines.
Going down.